If you've ever considered voting for yourself, presidential election, or voting for one of your friends, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. It is time for live trading, and you know what that means. We're going to trade all of these crazy movers. We're going to try and make sense of the opening print. We're going to tell jokes. Some are good, some maybe not so good. You know what to expect. You're in the right spot. Let's roll.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Yo, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Crimp Biscuit saying it's National Cat Day. Is that true? Well, if so, I don't know if you can see him over there, but Buddy is, yep, there he is. He is investigating the birdcage. Happy Cat Day, buddy. Okay, he's out of here. We're done with that. Happy Tuesday, folks. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. We are going to make some more money today. And I'll be honest, it is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Crimp Biscuit, of course, Kayla, Robert, Jonathan, Jane, Richard, Federico, AC, Martin, Fairchild. I will check that email from you. That is really, really exciting. Appreciate you, boss. Let's talk Beach Bum, Carmen, JJ, Mark, River, Mitosis. You guys, our Twitter viewers all out here, YouTube viewers all out here. You folks are in the right place and amazing. Hello, Chicago. Hello, Bernhard. Let's bring on 13 and say hello to him. Hello, 13. How are you this morning?
I'm doing just fine. How's everybody today?
Everyone looks good. I don't see a complaint. Nobody's yelled at me via email with all caps yet today. So honestly, like we're having a fairly good day. My cat screamed at me earlier, but apparently it's National Cat Day.
Yeah,
so
he
might be off the hook for that. No, he got fed. He got fed. He got fed at 3:45 in the morning, which was the first time that I woke up. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the market here. We're going to start with the SPY. SPY actually a little bit lower here today. It kind of drifted lower yesterday. It kind of stealthily used the 580.32 level, or excuse me, 582.30, beg your pardon. Kind of used this level as resistance. It wasn't as clean as it has been the past few days, but it did kind of use that as resistance, drifted a little bit lower. You can see we're actually drifting into the trend line. We'll see what happens here today. As far as earnings go, which was kind of driving this here, let's go ahead and reset this to today. We had Pfizer this morning. Oh, you know what? I had a filter on this earlier. We had Pfizer this morning, PayPal. Did we have Pfizer or am I screwing this up already? No, we did. We had Pfizer, PayPal this morning, and we have Google and Snap tonight. So get ready for that. But as far as the SPY goes, 13, I'd like to know if you have any targets here. I'm kind of watching just to see where we finish. I have no trades on. I'm not trading the VIX. We've outlined the 582 level, the trend line level, the moving averages. None of that has really changed as it appears the market just kind of waits for the election to be out of the way. What do you think here?
Well, I can tell you that we have not had 4 red days in a row since April. And the last time we did have that many days in a row, it ended up being 6. And that was around the time where we were awaiting the next FOMC meeting, because there was a lot of concern about, how many rate cuts are we going to get this year? Is inflation coming back up? We had all of that talk starting to spook investors out of the market. And it led to a 6-day sell-off. And we eventually recovered after the FOMC meeting. But for now, we don't have that catalyst coming up quite yet. That's going to be after the election, so we could be something similar ahead of that. But as far as levels go, we are now beneath the 580.33 previous all-time high. We're going to, as we drift back up there before the open, we're probably likely going to open beneath that. We also have the 577.71 previous all-time high. That's beneath the current price, and it's also beneath the 20-day SMA, which I think is what we're going to want to watch for. We received support from the 20-day SMA last week on Wednesday and Thursday. So now here we are back hammering this moving average again. I'd like to see it, a close beneath the 20-day SMA. That would actually start to lead to more downside if we get something like that.
Okay. Real quick here. I missed this in my initial rundown. Easy Mike. Ryan, this morning I am teaching high school kids on finance and I'm showing your channel for 30 minutes. all of that is good. But honestly, Mike, I'm the most excited that someone as knowledgeable as you is imparting financial wisdom to our youth, because I'll be quite honest with you, I think we could just use more of that. And I mean MOAR, like the kids say, just more financial literacy at every age group as a young adult and as a kid. Mike, I think this is awesome. If there's anything I can do for your class, please let me know. Chat, I expect you folks to be on your best behavior today. I don't know when this is going to happen, so let's be on our best behavior for Easy Mike and his kids. Mike, that's awesome. I'm honored, and like I said, if there's anything I can do to help the youngsters or what you're trying to do, I'm happy to do that. Please shoot me an email. Okay, why don't we talk about some of those movers? Why don't we? About some of the, did you have something else, 13?
No, let's do it. Let's
talk about some of those movers. We did have some earnings yesterday. I do want to cover the Boot Barn earnings, so don't let me forget about that. But let's get some of these things out of the way. First stock here is going to be BKYI. This is BioKey. I know that we've traded this at some point before, but I can't remember the last time. I can't really pin it. There is a catalyst here this morning and a pretty decent pre-market formation, if you ask me. Catalyst here, BioKey shares are trading higher after the company announced it had received $910,000 order from a long-time financial services customer to upgrade its biometric customer identification technology. That would be great for the stock. Basically a $910K order, just shy of $1 million. The pre-market formation here, pretty decent. This was a penny stock yesterday. Today, we've had several impulse moves, all of them above the VWAP, one of them coming from the VWAP, and we've had multiple tests of that VWAP without breaking down. We look here, it sure looks to me 140-ish is going to be this sideways area to break out and above. 128 is your current VWAP. That's the channel. I'd look to trade this around there. We're going to wait for this and see what happens when the market actually opens. 13, do you have anything here on BKYI?
To answer your question, the last time we traded this thing was last month, toward the middle, around September 10th to 13th. That's when we were seeing a lot of movement in this one. This was back when it was up in the above $2. Being that we're down here now, we're trying to get back up into at least 150. It looks like 147 in particular is going to be the earliest level to get past. If you draw a line at that particular level, you can see that we're gaining that level from the lows of April, late April. Then we have some other price action that kind of consolidates after that. That's going to create a bit of a resistance area, supply zone. If we chew through that, and it looks like we're trying to do that right now, 147, I'd be looking at 160 as the breakout spot. You can also draw a line there and see that that is the consolidation area that I'm referring to. So if we get through that, we could end up running back up into the $2 handle.
Okay, really good stuff there, 13. We'll see if we get a trade here on a BKYI. Oh, look, we are going from that sideways trading that I was talking about. We'll see if we find some resistance here. 155, your pre-market high. Okay, next on the list here is going to be Lucy. Get ready. This is a good old ex-girlfriend. We've traded this one a whole lot here. Innovative Eyewear shares are trading higher after the company announced the launch of Lucid Armor, its first ANSI certified smart safety glasses with integrated AI features for all-day industrial use, including chat GPT access. The only question I have is, can this track my golf shots and can this read the green for me? You can see here, Lucy, ticker LUCY, by the way, this did pop just shy of 14. We've retraced just under $5 of that move. We're below the VWAP here. We haven't really broke down despite retracing this impulse move, so maybe there is still a trade here. 13, what do you make of this?
Yeah, so yeah, this is moving on. Their announcement of a new their new glasses, the Lucid Armor. It has 2.14 million shares in the float. They did a 1-for-20 reverse split back on July 18th. We get a update on their balance sheet and earnings when they report next month. So not really saying that they need cash quite yet. It looks like they might, but we'll get a better idea of that and their sales when they report next month. Now, as far as the technicals go, I'm looking at a daily chart, and this thing is really starting to look like it's having a good time coming off this double bottom that it has put in this year. That first bottoming action was back in May. Second was in August. And here we are coming off of that, and we're now breaking above some of these key areas that were providing resistance, particularly this consolidation from about $8 to close to 10. And we're still, this morning, we're still trying to work a little bit of our way through that. It seems as though if we can get through 10, there's going to be a lot more, there could be a lot more room to run in this one. So let's see if we end up getting that. We'll have to watch the volume to see if we continue getting that expansion. But this one looks like it's on its way to turning around. And that little bottom does look very enticing.
Okay. Short interest, just kind of checking in here. Short interest, minimal, but still present. So kind of keep that in mind here. Share structure, 2.14 million shares in the float. On average, trades about 1.5 million today, just shy of 5 million ahead of the open. That's where we're at here on Lucy. Real quick, Fairchild mentioning, I wonder if Lucy going to be at a trade show near us in the Midwest. It would be cool to check him out firsthand. Fairchild, I completely agree with you. And I'll say this, before I buy any of these glasses, very much like the watch, I kind of waited a little bit. I was not an early adopter of the watch, and I waited for my favorite one. I was, just full disclosure, I was an Android user at that time, so it was going to take something significant for me to switch to the Apple ecosystem. But I kind of did the same thing, right? I waited, I looked at a couple of the different smartwatches, and I picked the one that I like. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the glasses. And what you're discussing here about being able to check them out firsthand is really going to be the best possible thing. I of course, watch reviews on YouTube and all of that. And if any of those come out, I'll check them out, but nothing replaces firsthand. I totally agree with you there. Okay, next here. Go ahead.
Actually, if you want to go and take a look and see if they're at your local Target, they sell at Target.
Yeah, the problem is that am I actually, well, you know what? I don't want to make an assumption. So what I was going to say is, can I actually like try them and test them out at Target? I don't know the answer.
At the very least, you should be able to see them.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is like, can I put them on? Can I hold them? That whole thing. But you know what? I don't want to assume. I don't know. That might be the case. Maybe there is a display pair. Who knows?
Yeah. So just anyway, if you're looking, I mean, I don't know if there's any trade shows that are show these, but they are selling at Target in a bunch of locations. So bring up go to the website, see if there's the Target near you is carrying them, and I think that would be a better opportunity to check those out firsthand.
Okay. Sorry, let me.
No worries. I'll just mention this one real quick. PFIE. This one's getting acquired, so there's no trade here.
Perfect. That was literally that was amazing. PFIE, no trade here. We'll move on, and I'm done with the message that I need to send. Next one here does have a catalyst though. SHPH. This is Shuttle Pharmaceuticals. Remember, we did have a number of pharma names run yesterday, like EVOK, which we'll check out here again real fast. Shuttle Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after the company announced it finalized agreements with all 6 of the planned site enrollment locations to administer the phase 2 clinical trial of some drug that has an X and a bunch of other letters that I am not going to butcher here today. SHPH popped in the after hours, traded sideways for the rest of the after hours, and is in that same range here today. As far as ranges look for, I'm basically looking for this to hold on to 2. If we do, maybe we can trade that up to the VWAP for that 21 cent range. And then hopefully the big trade here happens when we take out VWAP on volume and then challenge this 260 pre-market high. That happens, giddy up. We should have a good trade here. We'll see if we end up getting that. Really quick, run around the horn, as they say, does have some short interest, 1.59%, but really not a whole lot there. Share structure, 2.122 million. This is right in the butter zone of what we have been successful in trading recently. On average, the stock trades just over 500,000 shares, but today we're over 13 million shares already. Financials here has a very little bit of cash on the balance sheet, but does burn more cash per quarter than it has. So we'll see about the money. 13, what do you think here on SHPH?
So first of all, good morning, Smoked Tuna. Second of all, this has done a 1-for-8 reverse split on August 13th. You pretty much covered all the other metrics that I was going to go over, but we have traded this before. Not exactly sure when that was, but it seems because I have some levels left over here, we were trying to trade this on one of its last times it was moving up. That could have been, we're one of several months where it spiked this year. So not exactly sure when we traded it last, but seeing as how they are ready to start their phase 2, that's a bit of an expensive endeavor. They don't seem to have the cash on the balance sheet. I'd expect them to do an offering or raise capital in some capacity somehow. So let's be careful with this one. Let's make our trades quick. We don't want to have this halt on news and have them perform an offering in the middle of the day. We have seen some companies do that need cash for their clinical trials.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Next is going to be AREB, ticker AREB. This is American Rebel Holdings. Stocks traded up yesterday in the after hours, took another move higher here in the pre-market, gave that entire move back and then did it again. So I am tempted to say that this is probably not over here today. We'll see. I think we did have news on this. No, this is one we did not have news on, right?
News was yesterday.
Excuse me. News was yesterday. Appreciate you. American Rebel Champions Safe introduces Safeguard models. Remember, this stock, I believe, went wild when the Liberty Safe fiasco about letting the FBI into the safe took place. 13. What do you got here? Ticker AREB.
No news. That news was yesterday. So this is looking like it's moving off of relative volume. Also, this is in the process of it's regaining compliance. I think if you look at the news feed, you can scroll down a little bit. You can see that they have been trying to regain compliance. So we're on that theme with this one. They have 1 million shares in the float. They did a 1-for-9 reverse split on the 2nd of October, and this company also needs cash. So we could this one could also be at risk of having an intraday offering, or maybe after the bell. It's one of the two companies I covered that really do need to increase their cash position for a number of reasons. SHPH, obviously we know that why that is. AREB, I'm not necessarily sure how much they're going to need to raise, but their cash position didn't look like it was going to hold up, given that they burn more than they have in the bank.
Right. Okay. Good stuff here. Let's keep rolling through the list so we can get to the stocks that the chat wants to take a look at. Next here is going to be ELDN. This is Eledon Pharmaceuticals. And as you can see here, looks like an underwritten offering here at $365 a share. This pre-market here, we had a nice pop to 420. Where's wisdom at? We came all the way back in. Looks like we're trying to take that back out here, but let me go back to the news here. Eledon Pharmaceuticals announces data for the first 3 islet transplant recipients treated with immunosuppression regime that includes some drug to prevent the transplant rejection with type 1 diabetes. Looks like they also did an offering here. Price is 18.36 million, share offering at 365. Stock price is higher than that. 13. What do you make of ticker ELDN here today?
I didn't really cover this one. It was just kind of reading through the news here. They announced that great news from their type 1 diabetes treatment. And then they coupled that movement with an offering. So they didn't wait. But this is kind of what we were getting at about how these biotech companies and their expensive clinical trials, they need to raise cash for these things. So sometimes this is the way they do it. So now that that's out of the way, this might actually be a better trade, since there's that risk of them making another offering is much lower now.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Next is the big Momo name, DJT here. This printing 57.5 here in the pre-market. Wow. After printing 50 in the after hours yesterday, we're gapping up again, although it is pulling into the open here. This continues to move. Really nothing to cover here, unless you have levels that you want to dole out. 13, really nothing to cover here in terms of news, catalyst, share structure. It's all the same. It has been all the same throughout this run. So did you have anything here level-wise that you wanted to go over, Bus?
Well, let's see. We're at 50 was a big one for me. I mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, yes, you did.
We moved through that really nicely. And interestingly, we're up at the next one here. 52.75 is the one that I had next. We're just now above it. So we continue to hold that. The one I have above this level is going to be 55 even.
Okay. 55 even. That actually puts you right in here. It almost looks like this kind of mini Head and Shoulders back from May earlier this year. I'd give an honorable mention to maybe 56.5 to 57 on this spike there, but that 55 level certainly going to be more important. We'll see if DJT gets there today. I would expect volatility here. We were already at that level once. We've came in from it. I expect there to be another test at some point here. So DJT, that's what's going on.
Yeah, 57's the next one after 55. So there you go.
There you go. Then I did want to cover LAC. It does look like a couple of stocks kind of adjusted here. We can go ahead and hit them, but I did want to make sure I got to Lithium Americas here. You can see this has actually also been a fairly decent stock, multiple day mover here. Actually a pretty decent formation, especially off this 2-day impulse move. We retraced about 60% of it, then went higher by a considerable amount. So LAC, this is still moving here. Let me go here.
They had after hours news yesterday.
Yeah, yep, they did. They closed a $2.26 billion Department of Energy loan for Thacker Pass construction. That's what's going on here with Lithium Americas. What do you have on this one? Looks like it got a buy here today. Oh, yeah. There we go. Received a buy from TD Cowen as well.
Yeah, so not having that on your balance sheet certainly going to improve the valuation of your stock. And we don't see fundamentals matter too much these days, so it's a welcome sign. But that's what I'm getting out of this. I didn't really cover this one. It's just moving on the news that they have a lot less debt now. They were borrowing from the U.S. government, so it looks like. I mean, we were talking about how lithium could end up turning around and being a big commodity next year. So finding a good battery play might be something that's worth getting into for 2025.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Ticker LAC, Lithium America. Okay, now the two that kind of adjusted there, SGD, Safe and Green Development. I feel like we're familiar with this one. Looks like we had a volume spike there in the pre-market on some news here. Safe and Green Development begins construction on Sugar Phase 1 project in South Texas, starting with 5 single-family homes as demand grows. So there you go with Safe and Green Development. That did cause it to pop. It did retrace almost all that move. 13, do you have anything on this one?
Nope.
Okay, we'll keep rolling on here. The next one was QUBT. This is quantum computing. Carmen, I know you're stoked about this one as you've been all over a lot of this quantum stuff recently. QUBT, this is gapping a little bit here. I really didn't see any news here, but just figured I'd mention it.
I think the one that she's on is QBTS.
There's
some of the quantum names are moving.
I think she watches all of them, though. Anyway,
you're probably right.
Anyway, just wanted to mention it because I feel like we've talked about quantum stuff recently, and I noticed that it was up nearly 10% here today.
Yeah, Fairchild, that's right. That SGD one, I see that sometimes when I drive around out here. But yeah, that's what they are. They've been moving. They moved last week as well, I believe.
Crow here saying he thinks BKYI gonna do 2+ any moment here at $1.59. Looks like it did have an impulse move that pulled back here. We'll see.
Certainly looks set up to do that. Let me take a look and see if I got some levels here. And if you want to move on to the next thing we're looking at.
VFC. This is going to be one of their earnings from yesterday. We actually took a look at this at the happy hour. Dwayne here from the chat wanted to take a look at VFC. Shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results. We actually had to kind of go over this yesterday. So for anyone that forgot here, VFC designs, produces, and distributes branded apparel. Some of these brands that you might recognize include Vans, North Face, Timberland, and Dickies and Ultra, although I'm not sure what Ultra is. Anyway, this reported good earnings yesterday, beat on the top and the bottom line, and it looks like there were a bunch of re-ratings here today. That's helping the stock stay up 20%. Yeah, it looks like we got price target raise. I'm just making sure any of these aren't actual changes. Price target raise. They declared a dividend and another price target raise there. So not getting re-ratings here, but just price target raises. That's what's going on with VFC. This thing up almost 20% here today. Okay, let's see. Did you have any levels that you wanted to go over? Should I keep going?
I'll keep going.
From
I'm
okay.
Double check.
Sweet. Nope. Here. All good. Looks like a number of you guys are on LAC. Okay, that might be one of them here today. I think I'm going to need therapy. My Yankees are getting owned by the Dodgers. Tell me about it. As a Cubs fan, I have no love for the Dodgers, despite Shohei Ohtani being one of the most remarkable athletes I've ever seen play sports. I'm sorry about that loss in the Cathedral last night. I got a bunch of Yankee fans. They're all in the same boat. We're here for you, Tom. We are here for you. Okay, I'm going to flip over to the main workspace and just kind of prepare for today. I'm happy to look at any of the stocks that you folks want to take a look at here today.
Lithium,
yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
LAC is one that you definitely take a look at and consider if you want to do lithium plays. But the one that I've chosen, I mentioned this I think last week or the week before. I'm on ALB, Albemarle. So that's the one that I'm holding for the long term for the lithium play. They pay a dividend. It's been beaten up pretty well. So there's a lot of opportunity here on this one, and I think that we're going to see lithium turn around because batteries are not going away. They're not going to go away at all. They're going to only expand and get better. We're going to see more EVs. It's just going to be that's just going to be the case. Lithium is going to be a big commodity. So just choose the one that looks the best to you and go for it.
Real quick, one more thing that I wanted to cover. This was an earnings from yesterday is Boot Barn. I just went to the store for the first time in person. It was awesome. I bought 4 items. All of them were on sale. Now we see the earnings come out. Stock went lower here as this was a mixed report. The other news that we had from ticker Boot, B-O-O-T, is that the CEO is leaving and going to Ross Stores. That's ticker R-O-S-T. And in fact, yesterday in the after hours, that did trade up. Looks like it actually went negative now. So how about that? Also worth mentioning, we talked about this on Happy Hour. There seemed to be a pretty decent trade yesterday taking Boot Barn long after the print for a bounce. This is all very, very low volume. We'll see what happens when the market opens. As you can see, this is kind of returning to the lows, but there was a good 13 points off of those lows this morning in the pre-market. So we are about to open here 13. We got 30 seconds to go. I also noticed VSIG, honorable mention. I think that this is one that we talked about in Happy Hour that you're trading. This one here up on a catalyst, up 48%. It's only 11 cents. I'm going to completely pass on this, but it is worth mentioning because it's moving.
Yep. And, Fairchild, I don't think they acquired them because ALB is already the largest lithium producer, and they probably just didn't need to. And maybe there was also a money issue. They probably couldn't afford to gobble them up. So I don't think that ALB needed to pick them up, though. And here we are. We're open. Let's go.
We are open. Good luck, folks. Trade them well here today. Trade them well here today. Okay, LAC first move here is down. Lucy holding 10 so far. That PFIE, remember, that is the buyout. Let me get my full options flow chart ready for today.
BKYI, this one looks like if we can at least try to hold VWAP here for a little bit, that we could push up to 2.
Okay.
See if we end up getting that.
Here is your BKYI going on screen here. A dip, honestly, a dip to the VWAP and a hold there wouldn't be terrible. LAC pulling out of the open here.
And let me just put some of these other ones up.
TMDX, Chuck Hudson, TMDX plain maintenance was an issue. We looked at that one yesterday too, didn't we, Chuck, in the Happy Hour? This is Transmedics. They do organ transport. So what you're saying here is that the plain maintenance more expensive than anticipated, or just simply more of it than anticipated, that leading to a weaker bottom line there. Move down here is significant. The stock down almost 30% here this morning.
Might need a little bit more time on BKYI. I just see a huge order that just helped push the stock down some more.
Yep, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to mention AREB. You already got Lucy up there. That one's trying to get back above VWAP. AREB, this one is just knifing. So we might go down to 305 to find support. Let's see if that happens.
One thing to keep in mind here with Lucy, that has really struggled with the VWAP. So AREB is pulling here, a really good mention there, 13. But Lucy also all morning has struggled with his VWAP. And look at that, right out of the gate, you had a little move up to the VWAP and a pull. This thing now beneath the pre-market lows. This might halt down here, 909.
Everything that we just talked about seems to be opening lower. DJT opening lower, AREB opening lower. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, Lucy halted to the downside here. Wow. So you know what? We had talked yesterday about how sometimes it might be a good idea to kind of wait out that first opening print, maybe 5, 10, even 15 minutes. Well, look at that. That's exactly what I did here today. And frankly, 13, I think that saved me from making a red trade early on.
Especially the ones that are really running into the open. Those are the ones I like to kind of watch to see what they do at the open, because as soon as it opens, it drops right down, or it pops and then drops down.
This comment is just, this has all the feels for me. Chris, good morning. Hello, friends. Just like Jim Nance, gotta love it. It's Tuesday, so that means I'm in the locker room still wearing my hockey skates. Let me just go over really quickly all of the ways in which this is awesome. Hockey is the best sport. This is what I played. It is tough to get ice time, so you often have to go early or late. The fact that you chose to not even take your skates off and join the show, big props. Let's smash up the like for our boy Chris.
Wow, that is a lot of. Okay, so Red Book we have before the open inventories.
PRCH, this got mentioned yesterday. This seems to be the only stock running out of the gate here. This actually took out the intraday high yesterday as well. Wow. BKYI might be bouncing after it did come into that VWAP. There you go, 13.
$2 is the target on that one. SPY, this one is really moving down out of the gate here. Looking for that 20-day SMA to provide support and that 577.71 previous all-time high. I currently have the 20-day at 577.99. Let's call it 578.
Okay. Good stuff there. Crow saying SHPH, she's taking that. BK
right.
Wiss saying that this one was about to reverse. Wiss, that call was crispy because so far that is exactly what's happened. It's almost like you knew the future there, boss. Now it's pulling a little bit off that 143-year VWAP on BKYI. See if it goes in there and test it. Here we go. Wiss, that was close.
SHPH had a nice little trade there. It's still working its way through the pre-market consolidation, but doesn't have a whole lot of it to work through. It looks like 220. It might be through the thick of it.
Okay. 217. So we talked about this being the channel, $2 really being the channel. We did recapture that here. Good stuff there. SHPH. What happened? What did I miss?
I'm just laughing at Big Bees. If it's the SPY, SPX, if it fails, we're all doomed.
Yeah. Hey, look, Chris is he's got the jokes. We love it.
Look at that reversal in DJT. Buying at 50 on that drop there, it went down actually up to the pre-market low of 49.59, really close to that, and just reversed. And now it's back above VWAP. That was a good trade right there. I don't know how much more it pushes up from here, but just that bounce was solid.
Okie dokie. VFC, the earnings winner. This actually looking like a little bit of a dip and rip there. Maybe profit takers. AREB is closing that distance here to the VWAP.
Folks mentioning Riley that it could squeeze. It's moving slowly, but it's we already got that pop out of the gate. 644 is an intraday high. SHPH trying to push higher, still trying to chew its way through that consolidation.
SHPH here about to test the VWAP.
Yeah,
Motion's all over this one.
Oh yeah. And then okay, so here's some more levels on SHPH. We get through this consolidation. There may be a resistance area around 235, and then another one at 258 or 260. That's the pre-market high. We get through that, I think 290 is possible.
Okay. See if we get that here. BKYI, the other one that we're kind of watching, looks like this is still flirting with that VWAP. Volume's kind of back and forth. I don't think there's a decision here. I would tell you this, though. If we snap that VWAP, I don't think you should overstay your welcome here. Hopefully we do bounce from this area. Crow saying, I'm not taking it. Smoke Tuna's calling GRR, GRRR. That one actually might be legit. GRR here. Looks a little thin here, but this is a good move here, Tuna.
There's a lot of hype around Bitcoin right now, so it's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, there is.
I don't think 72 is out of the question today, especially with the price action we just got, where we dropped out of the gate, found a bottom around was it 70,880, and is reversed, and now we're back up here. So let's see it take out 71,500, and then we can have that 72,000 conversation.
Okay. Also, Bitcoin just under 3% from all-time highs. That's got people excited about it, without a doubt. SoFi being asked about in the chat here. SoFi plummeting. DJT is halted. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Lucy is unhalted. So remember, this halted to the downside. It's unhalted now. More downside looks like it's coming here.
SHPH pulled, getting support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute around 185.
BKYI has held, but you know what? I'm almost kind of seeing, just to my eye, it sure looks like lower highs here. I'd be careful with this one. No position on any of these names for me.
It's starting to move. It's getting into the 160s. It's just chewing through some of this
Yeah,
resistance.
no, you're right. You're
But
right.
it could pull back. I mean, we need to see a close above VWAP, and we're not quite there yet.
CDNS, this is one of the big caps. This reported earnings yesterday. Impulse move, sold some of it back. We actually took that out and tried to go higher. This stock still has some strength. Be curious to know if anyone's trading that one here today. The quantum computing at the pre-market high. That's QUBT, sorry. QUBT at the pre-market high here. House of Trades. Hello from the Twitter streets. WKSP. This is Worksport. Penny stock here, about 80 cents. Don't really see a whole lot going on here. Volume less than impressive. No news on this one, right? We are right under that 80. Oh, no. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. Actually, shout out Zoltan and Benzinga here, beating the PR by a half an hour here. 200% growth in B2B sales, pre-order campaign for one of its covers. All right. House of Trades. Hopefully that's doing well for you here.
It doesn't seem like it's really moving off of that news yet. I mean, we're trading some movers that are running on what I would consider to be less lesser news. But 200% growth in B2B sales. Now, I guess what does their B2B sales look like initially? Because they could
That's
be
a good
like
question. Yeah,
they could be like doing $10,000 in B2B sales, and oh hey, suddenly we're doing $2 million.
Got to do something here real quick.
SGMT looks strong. SGMT looks like it just pulled here. 634 pre-market. I mean, the volume in the pre-market was just almost non-existent. Is there news on this?
Sorry, still handling here something. 13.
Well, let's see if we can get some volume expansion in SGMT and a recapture the VWAP. That's I don't know if there's a trade right at this moment, but because it's moving so slowly.
Bringing it up on screen for you here. SGMT.
And there's BK. Okay, so we just got a huge bid on BKYI. It might halt.
Yep, it did. Halted to the upside.
There it is.
Sorry if I kept anyone out of that. I was saying be careful, be careful, be careful, and then it just ripped.
Yep.
Not in it. Not in it. Not in it.
Smita Patel asking Fun, any thought for day trading till election? So the thing about Fun is that with the CEO considering leaving, that's one of the big reasons why we liked trading this, that, and the fact that it was really tied with DJT. It still may trade with DJT, but I think because the CEO who was really really into being linked to Trump is leaving, it's some of that sentiment might leave with it. So I'm not sure.
Really quickly, just to kind of illustrate the point that you're making here, 13, I overlaid the Fun stock to the DJT chart, and you can see for a while this really did follow Fun at a news event here, but it might be starting to diverge here, 13. So I think you might be onto something like that. We can keep checking in on this. I think it's probably worth it, but I think that we're at an environment now where we can't just necessarily assume because one stock is up, so too is the other one. I think at minimum, we should check on that and then watch this relationship. Just my 2 cents on that. DJT lower from the opening print here today.
Yeah, I guess, if you, this is nerdy. If you've watched the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie, I guess the CEO could be considered a bit of an anchor being to Fun. So you get that joke, then there you are. BKYI halted, DJT still halted. Those are our halts currently. Lucy still open, SHPH open. B Riley, we were getting a mention on this one. This one is looking like it's setting up to push higher over 644. Not sure if we're going to get that in this candle or the next one, but it's setting up to with a bit of a bear flag here on the 5-minute chart to push higher. So we'll see if we get that on B Riley. That's RILY.
Okay. QUBT, this one seems to be going. That quantum computing took out that pre-market high. That's moving higher here. So it looked like we had a little bit of kind of like a dip out of the open in some of the, not, well, we did have a dip in the SPY too. I meant in some of these kind of smaller names here from our list. Some of them seem to be reversing now, though. ELDN getting called in the chat. That was one that was on our list. What's that? I haven't looked at that since the pre-market. That did go higher, although when it got above 4, it pulled. LIXT looks like just, Crow, did you call this a dumpster fire? I don't want to put that out there unless you said, okay, I don't see it here, so maybe.
Smoke Tuna mentioned a little bit ago that PSQH is setting up. It looks like that setup is getting resolved here. New intraday high in PSQH of 327.
PSQH.
That just barely broke above the pre-market high. So and then it came back in. So don't think this is quite done yet, but we need to hold VWAP and push higher.
Okay, let's take a look at some of our stalwarts, if you will. NVIDIA a little bit lower here. Let's take a look at Apple, see what Apple's doing. Apple actually green here, so a little bit different. Here's a look at the Qs. Let's see what the Qs are doing here. It's actually holding the area from Friday. I guess we did technically test this area once yesterday near the close. Looks so far, it looks like we're holding that. SHPH getting mentioned. Is that finally going?
It's pushing back up into the pre-market consolidation. We haven't been able to break through that yet. That's at about $2, and it's going to, it's probably pretty much going to end at about 220, 225. So there's about 25 cents of consolidation it needs to chew through. Sorry about that.
All good. DJT halted here for the second time. This looks like a halt to the downside on ticker DJT.
Solid one.
SHPH still flirting with that $2 level. BKYI is still halted here.
Lucy going lower. I think we might get the next move in Riley pretty soon here. It's starting to turn around.
QUBT still at the highs there. Let me put Riley on screen. I haven't looked at that myself.
Well,
Apple's still pushing new highs. VIX above 20.
Any take on Humana? I'll take a look at that on a longer chart here. They have earnings tomorrow in the morning. It's kind of trading like this.
BKYI is open, going higher now. BKYI.
And it's going to halt again. And halted? Is it?
Halted. BKYI halted again to the upside here. Tell you what, there's been something to look at every day, and even when some of these moves were reversing, we ended up getting an opportunity to trade them. LAC looks like that dipped first here, just reclaimed the VWAP. Folks, LAC, this actually doesn't look terrible. This is a good company too. Good job on the BKYI. Sorry for running you over there. Good job on BKYI.
On Humana, that it still hasn't filled its gap. It almost did on the 21st. But it got rejected and came back in. So it looks like to me like 275 is a pretty important level to get over. We can close that gap it was created from October 1st to the 2nd, and then we can try and test this 50-day SMA at about 302, almost 303. Getting over 300 is going to be a big deal for Humana because I see a resistance level there put in from May 1st. So I don't know what the earnings are going to look like, but it seems like I could nail where some of these upside levels are. As far as downside goes, I'm not sure if it's going to go down, but if it does, 240 might be a spot where it could really start to accelerate to the downside. And the low that we have here on the chart is 213.31. Haven't seen a low. Anything lower than actually that was down where the low from the pandemic was. So we lose that. We're beneath the pandemic lows.
finish up this one message here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
There's Riley.
Really quickly here, I wanted to highlight this comment. Jaskell, welcome. We're happy to have you here. I was seriously looking at BKYI, but I didn't jump in. Bummer. I'm new to this. This is awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to offer you some words of encouragement here. So first of all, I do feel bad because I did kind of say, hey, we should kind of be careful with this, and it ended up going. I don't like whenever I'm made to look like a moron 3 seconds after I make a statement. That's always frustrating. But here's the more important takeaway. There are going to be almost an incalculable amount of opportunities going forward here. So I think it's really important to just kind of see what moved it, see if you can discern a pattern, and then play the ones going forward. No reason to chase this right now. Maybe this does go ham, but there's no reason to just kind of do that just right off the bat here. There will be more opportunities. I promise you that.
B. Riley, that broke out 664 new high. So this bull flag that we were talking about getting resolved. And then we had a question about. Hold on, let me bring up the economic data here. Tuesday, we were asking if there might be news at 10. JOLTS job openings and consumer confidence. That's what we have here. And at 10:30. We have Texas services sector outlook and Dallas Fed services revenues.
Okay. DJT here, lower we go. GLYC, Crow, you were mentioning this one earlier. Penny stock, this curling back up here. Amanda's just looking for more smoke this morning. Damn it, Amanda. By the way, NBIS, we've talked about this one a lot recently. This at 24 and looks like this is going to go. I'll be honest, we talked about the catalyst here of them having $2 billion in cash. We actually had a really good discussion about this in happy hour yesterday. That $2 billion in cash it's only going to get you so far in the data center. So there might be some more here just because of the move so quickly. Might have to think about some gains here. Haven't exited yet, but I'll let you know when I do.
And we also talked about this morning about how interesting this could be if it's using old chart data to make these moves, because there's a gap. If you look at the chart, there's a gap that starts at about 24, but that's not from this stock. That's from the previous company that had this ticker. So I'm wondering, are the algos looking at this and going, "Oh, okay, this has a gap to fill here. Let's start. Let's make sure our sales are at $24, so that gap doesn't fill." Look at this. Look at the daily chart from yesterday, or the intraday chart from yesterday, and the pre-market. 24 and
BKYI is open and going lower. It's actually going to halt to the downside here.
24 and change is basically where the big resistance level is. So I have a lot of question marks about this one, but it looks like 24 is not going to break out. It could, but I don't think it will. If those algos keep thinking that that's a particular spot.
BKYI halted to the downside here. Here's what 13 was talking about real quick. The NBIS, we're assuming this used to be a different ticker back in 2022, and the chart, this date here goes back to 2022. It looks like there's this huge gap. That's what 13 is looking at. Some brokers see it this way too. 13, you might be onto something there with the algo. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Riley 664 and came in.
SHPH.
Still above VWAP.
AREB curling LIXT looks like that might have finally stopped selling off. All right, let's check in here real quick.
Well, it needs to get back above VWAP. And
Lunar getting mentioned here. Lunar actually pretty decent here today, flirting with its VWAP. We'll see if this goes higher here. Daily chart, this formation here, there's going to be something happening here. We're either going to break out of this, let's call it 850 on the upside, or break down from here, let's call it 775. I do kind of like this flag here. I'd like to see this resolved to the upside. Brittany, I hope that works.
They still, I think they still have one more NASA contract coming. So that could be the catalyst that these traders are waiting for here. We get that, and it's it's as robust as we believe it to be. It's probably going to at least go to 9 or 10, maybe even higher.
Okay. Good stuff there. All right, let's catch back up here on the chat real quick. Can you please go back to my comment? I'm here for the first time. Welcome. Yeah, I can't get to everything. I can't go back. There's probably too much going on. Let me know what that is. We'll see if we can go. Appreciate you guys with the backup. Look at that. Look at that. Doc, Dan, Amanda, appreciate you guys. SOUN, we're looking at. SOUN, Soundhound. This is another AI name here. This is continuing to move higher. We had a couple people in the Benzinga ecosystem that are into this. This actually looks like a potential short-term breakout here. Love to see this test double digits again.
Wasn't it? PSQH. That one was moving while you were speaking. It's now up to 332. It's the intraday high.
Yes, QH. Let me go ahead and get it on screen here. Here you go. This little dip and rip there, PSQH.
Ocean Sky was asking forward stock, when will it stop going down?
I wish should we get the 8-ball out? We could always ask it. I will say Ford has really kind of been stuck in a range for a long time. There was actually a point where we were channel trading this between 10 and 16. Can't tell you exactly when, but really this channel here on Ford looks like 940-ish. This goes all the way back. You might even be able to bump that down to 8 here.
Yeah, they've not been able to really do well with their EVs yet. They've kind of, I guess the best word to use is they kind of bungled that whole rollout and expansion of their EV manufacturing, and it's costing them. Even though their sales and their EPS were good on the report, they guided much lower. They're facing a lot of operational costs, and of course, you just had strikes. So, making vehicles is likely going to get more expensive for them as well. This is also, as far as a technical pattern goes, it looks like it's falling out of a bear flag. So there could be some more downside ahead, maybe even down to $9.
Just had that earnings catalyst out of the way too on Ford. Well, I would watch for it to hold this recent low here. Let's call it 9.5. Maybe it does discover a price lower down there towards 8 if that snaps.
Yeah, for me, I would personally wait to pick up Ford, especially when you have vehicle sales slowing.
Do you recall what Tim's long-term targets were? I think it was like between 6 and 8 for a long-term pickup on Ford. I'm pretty sure we'll ask.
That sounds about right. I have my target down at 750, and I've had that down there since late last year, about almost a year ago. So still waiting for that. All right, what are we doing here? Let's see. Still waiting for BKYI to open. DJT is open. That rebounded off of 47.69 and went higher. Now it's currently above VWAP, trying to reclaim 52.75. PSQH going higher. New intraday high, 335.
ELDN here.
Looks like B. Riley's trying to squeeze into a new intraday high as well. Current one is 664, and the price right now is at 655.
Lucy holding down here. We'll see if that holds near 8. Lightbridge. Oh, Lightbridge popping again on volume. Good mention here. Robert, you were on this yesterday. Tuna, looks like you got this one here today. Wow. Lightbridge.
Robert's been on this for a while now. I've been seeing his comments.
And Jay as well. Jay real sharp on some of these movers here today. Really good stuff on Lightbridge. LAC, are we finally moving towards 5? You guys got it. We talked about this one. Shoot, I got all mixed up watching that BKYI halt. I took my eyes off LAC. Took my eyes off the prize, 13.
So for Lightbridge, here's a couple of levels for y'all. We got 1256 and then 1460. Put some lines there, and you'll see how far away we are. That $12 one that I just mentioned, we're not too far away from that. That is the next level.
The 1256, right? That was right here.
Yep.
I am going to mark that one off because you're right, 13. I think we hit that here today. I've got it marked at 1259. So sue me. That's Close enough.
All right. Let's see what else. We got.
SHPH taking out its VWAP right here as we speak. Well, I wonder if this can actually start moving from here. Actually, I have a VWAP slightly lower in the broker that we've already taken out. SHPH size here, 210. We'll see if it takes it. It's taking it.
It's chewing away.
And it refilled it a little bit there. Coming back in now, SHPH. Watch this to hold 2, and then have another attempt to go through that spot there. 210, the spot to watch, SHPH.
Yeah, I'm really really liking 215 in particular. It seems that we've had a lot of trading just above and below that particular line, but that seems to be like the kind of like the average that it's the price action is kind of hanging around at.
Smoke Tuna saying this one's wild here. Totally get it. I'd almost wait for a confirmation on that trade, Tuna.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. With you on that, boss.
Upper shadows aren't looking great either.
No, they aren't.
So just be careful with that one.
Man, you see how quickly it popped off that low level there.
He said, "Oh, upper shadows. Well, let me take care of that."
Now higher. So it did take out that 210, went 2 cents higher and came back in. It's trying to grind 220. You mentioned 215, huh?
Yep.
I do see some sales building on the offer at 215. I also see some up there at 220. Remember, 221 the high. So that's your area to watch.
Yep. All correct. Look at this fight here at 215.
Yeah, wild.
Talk about more upper shadows, please.
Go ahead, 13. This is all you. You're the shadow man.
No, Jesus. So when we're referring to that, we're talking about really long wicks on the top of candles. You get enough of candles.
And SHPH through.
Goodbye. Yeah, you get enough. You get enough of those.
Goodbye. Nice little scalp there. Good call, by the way.
No problem. You get enough of those these candles showing up with have these wicks, these upper shadows. It's usually an indicator that the price is trying to reverse and go lower. You're having an influx of more sellers than there are buyers. So it's usually a good indicator that you may want to either take profits and get out or don't get in this right there. B. Riley's still trying to break that 664.
We got the market popping here. I bet the Jolts data's out.
That must be it.
I just have news from 9 a.m. here. There we go. USA, that was just a second update there. Jolt's job openings for September, 7.44 million versus the 7.98 million estimate. That's a light number there. The prior read was 7.86. Market looks like it popped and dropped on that news.
Yep. It got resistance just above the 580.33. I think it went as high as almost 580.50. But got rejection at the previous all-time high. We're currently beneath that. Not sure what it's going to do at the moment, but we'll just wait and see.
Yes, Carmen, Ryan, what is the piece hanging on your wall? That is, you know what's actually really cool about that, Carmen? That is a Chicago Blackhawks banner that has been framed, but you can't see it probably in the, maybe if you go full screen, you might be able to see it. The key part here is that the 3 dates on it are 1934, 1938, and 1961. This means that this was purchased prior to the Blackhawks 3 Stanley Cups in the 2010 time range. So I have been a fan since before it was cool to be a fan. Absolutely love my Blackhawks and hockey in general.
So getting some information here from the happy hour chat regarding DHI. This company is getting hammered right now.
It sure is.
Home sales are in trouble for home builders. Real
quickly, I'm going to shout out another live trading member here. I don't know if Lynn and Randy are present here this morning, but kudos to them because they have been watching some of the home sales figures in the absence of Felicia, and they have been on top of it for the last several weeks here. Sorry, keep going there with your DHI.
As a result, Home Depot may be also getting hit as a result of the weak data from DHI. So they're, Home Depot's kind of tied to the not only home building but home remodeling, and when we're seeing a slowdown in that on the home sales side, then Home Depot is probably going to get hit as well. They're down 2.25%.
Real quickly here, Bitcoin ripping to the highs here, 72,700 on the futures chart. Mara looks similar to the recent Bitcoin chart. Let's check in on Coin here as well. Coin looking similar. Clean Spark ticker CLSK, that also looking similar. If Bitcoin continues to be strong here, look for these stocks to kind of catch up. Tom asking, I went to happy hour yesterday for the first time. Is it just a chat or is it set up the way live trading is? So it's not the same as live trading. It's a Zoom call, which is how we keep it private. So you can either register from the little thing that's at the bottom of Pro. Once you sign up, Zoom will send you an email, and then you want to join the Zoom call. Once you join the Zoom call, there's a chat. There's a couple of people have their camera on. There's audio discussions from the members as well as myself. So it's a Zoom call. It's just a Zoom meeting. It's not webinar format. It's meeting format. By the way, SPY popping to the highs here after that JOLTS data. Here we go. This is the biggest up move we've seen here in the SPY today.
So we took that previous all-time high of 580.33. You know what the next spot is?
582.30.
That's it. We'll see what we get.
The BKYI opened up, went lower. It's actually beneath the VWAP, so maybe on a VWAP reclaim there, although that halt to the upside and then into a downside halt that fast, that's got me a little suspicious there, BKYI. Lightbridge did pull back and didn't break down. This might be setting up for another up move here. LGVN getting a mention in the chat by Webcoin. Everyone remembers Lagavulin. I know it's Longevron, but inside joke, we call it the name of a scotch here. This did a little spike here on volume, LGVN.
Yes, Dan D. It looks like Lowe's is also getting some of that weakness from DHI as well. That down 3/4%.
Hive also getting mentioned. This had a nice little gap up, profit dip to 420 and a move higher to 440. It's actually not terrible. Probably a little bit easier of a trade there. MNPR getting mentioned here. Crow. It's been a big mover for us. Oh, here we go. MNPR. $1.50 here off that VWAP already.
Have news? MNPR have news?
Let me go back and check. Sorry, I was just running through some tickers here. Let me check on MNPR here for some news.
Public offering.
Yep. At $16.25 a share, this moving higher after that offering. How about that?
Well, I think because they did the offering, and that was in the morning, like much earlier in the morning. So you may have already seen that price action, and now it's just the dip buyers coming in and picking this up. So if we look at an intraday chart, we should see that drop, or at least that weakness earlier in the morning. Doesn't really. It looks like it went exactly to where the offering was. Unless that news came yesterday, because I see the drop from yesterday.
LAC here, this did take 5. This also took the after hours high from yesterday. It's pulling back to that spot, but nothing abnormal here.
Okay, yes. So that's what happened with MNPR. They announced it yesterday, and that's what dropped it. And then in the morning, it got lifted back up to that where the pricing was, and now we're taking off. So as long as you were in it yesterday and you got in it after that that offering, doing pretty well.
Okay, so the folks that are excited about LAC, I see why. Big volume here today, nice expanding buy volume. Look at the gap we are in. This gap does not fill until 647. That is $1.50 from where we're at now. We are in the gap here on LAC. If you want to add some of these other levels here, maybe maybe 550, 547 in there as a resistance level, but on the daily, into the gap on LAC.
There you go, Ryan. Dandy asking if there's any deals for Thanksgiving or veterans discounts for Benzinga.
Okay, Dan. So I am actually not the deal guy. Yes, we should have a deal. I know around Thanksgiving there will definitely be a Black Friday deal. As far as a veterans discount, that'll happen anytime. I'm pretty sure we can give you I don't know what it is, so I might be getting us in trouble here, but I'm pretty sure a veterans discount is 20% off any subscription. Reach out to me if you want. But aside from the veterans discount, it would behoove you to talk to James from our team, because James is the deal man. And let me go ahead and look up his direct information. James is the deal guy. James sometimes joins us here. So James, if you're here, let me know. But I'm going to give you his direct email and his direct phone number. Dan, you can ask him today. He should give you a price there or give you some kind of deal there. Here's my email if anything goes wrong.
I was getting asked a question. There was no try. What is your Tesla preferred entry? 240? No, it was 200. I never got it, or I would have been in this now. So unfortunately, it didn't get down that low. It was looking like it was going to get pretty close, but it kind of just held above 210 for the most part. For me here, I'm not interested in picking this up here. I feel like I would be chasing. I think it would be better to ask me that at another time when Tesla's looking weaker, because right now it's looking a little bit too strong, and I don't want to buy into strength. Hopefully that answers your question. My preferred entry was $8. Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I did pretty well in Tesla when it was cheaper, and before we did all those splits. So I had a really good run with Tesla back in 2020 and 2021, but I have not, held a super long position since then. But yes, 8 sounds good. Sydney Osborne, I don't know. I'm not a big uranium expert. I couldn't answer that for you. I'm sorry. Martin asking, what we doing ups? You mean UPS? Because if you're referring to UPS, I'm in this for long term. I was buying under 30. Great pop that it had. Didn't sell it. I'm holding for the long term, which means a year or more. Just collecting the dividend. When I do take profit, I don't intend to be taxed heavily. That's the point of holding these for long term. So that's the plan. Just if it goes under 130, I'll probably just add more. But right now, it looks like it's getting support from the 20-day SMA. So we'll see what happens from there. But for me, long-term hold.
Real quick, some good questions here. Chicago Realtor, Ryan and 13, do you guys keep trading like this after the live stream ends? If so, is it for pro members only? So great question here. We do trade, but we don't trade like this. The show is its own thing, and you guys are here for it. When 13 and I end the show, we often go and do other obligations that we each have throughout the course of the day. However, the show must always go on, as they say. And as a result, we actually have a chat room. We have several chat rooms that I encourage you to get involved with, but we actually have a chat room here labeled Happy Hour, in which 13 is a moderator of. So if you ever need to find us during the trading day, you can often do that right here in Pro using the Happy Hour chat. And I wonder why my chat's not connecting. Let me give it a good old refresh here, as I've been beating my platform like a drum here this morning.
Yeah, people come in and talk in the happy hour chat all the time, and we're always throwing ideas around and sharing data, and it helps make us better traders. So if you have questions and come on there and you want to get like a technical assessment on some charts, or if you have a question about what a company's doing with their finances, there might be somebody in there that can at least give you an answer or point in the right direction.
Yeah. So like, for example, just to kind of steel man what 13 is saying here. First of all, I'm sure some of you recognize Stay Focused. He often joins us here on live trading. He's, of course, a stalwart of Pro as well. You can see that there is actually trading going on, information sharing going on while we're on the show. And obviously when the show ends, this is where we do a lot of that sharing. Really good question. Also, Christina, welcome. Thank you for being a member. Let us know if there's a stock you'd like to get broken down. We're happy to see you here. All right.
We're getting asked from Parker's Think or Swim, CPRI thoughts, please. This is just the unfortunate thing that happens when I'm not sure which entity decided they wanted to do an antitrust lawsuit on the company when they're trying to merge with what was it? Let's see here. It starts with a T. I'm trying to think of Tapestry. It looked like CPRI really needed this merger to go through. It was a $8.5 billion merger. Capri is the company that has a lot of brands such as Michael Kors, Versace, Jimmy Choo. the fact that this didn't go down, I think you only need to look at SAVE to get an idea of what could potentially happen with this company. SAVE was trying to merge with JetBlue. That got slapped down by the DOJ. The judge handed them a loss. And now SAVE is, trying to weigh if they can sell assets to stay afloat or file bankruptcy. So CPRI might have some pretty bad days ahead of it. I don't know if we're going to see recovery anytime soon. And I can understand why you want to know about that, because RSI is just incredibly low at under 11 RSI. So at the very least, I could see the potential for a low RSI bounce, but the company is struggling. It's not something you want to hold on to. So if you're going to trade this at all, just make it a day trade, I would suggest. Really
good stuff there, 13. Really good stuff.
Yep, no problem.
I'm just going to keep, I'm going to get my shading back here. I'm going to keep rolling through some of these stocks here. BKYI, I tell you what, as soon as it lost that VWAP, all strength disappeared with it. The penny stock that Crow was on here just took out its VWAP, so maybe that goes on a run. The dumpster fire from this morning, newsflash, still a dumpster fire here today. Lucy also in Fuego dumpster.
I'd love to see it. There is no try. I'm glad you're doing well. Really am. Those dead cap. They do work really well sometimes, Crow. LAC reversed. All right. Also getting a mention from Market Sniper about UAVS potentially going to 4. This one's having a really nice morning, and it was setting up. It was setting up yesterday too. Looks like
really good 3 break here too on UAVS. Real quickly, one of the things I wanted to mention here about there is no try. I think that this is an important reminder for everybody, no matter how long you've been watching the show. There is no try. My portfolio is up 30% in 1 month, since you are absolutely destroying the S&P returns, which is amazing. Since I started watching the show, I day trade large amounts on 4 to 10 of the same stocks daily. Before the show, I was floundering. So this is really important here, because I think one of the things that you'll be able to reiterate here, we don't tell you what to do, right? At the end of the day here, it's still going to be about what you do. Maybe we've provided some direction or given some type of structure. Maybe it's the crispy jokes. I don't know what it is, but there's something there that unlocked your own potential. And so anyone else that's asking about this, please understand that ultimately it is going to be you that gets it done. It is going to be you that makes decisions. We will do everything we can to help here. And people are finding help here. But again, at the end of the day, this really comes down to whether or not you're executing. So there is no try. Excellent job. Keep it up, and keep giving back to that community.
Yeah, I think if there's one big takeaway here, it's we try to encourage folks to get a better understanding of the risk that they're taking, and the whenever they're buying something, and where things could be riskier and where they are less risky. So I think that's for me, that's one of the big things that I felt like this has been helping people on, is understanding risk. NBIS, this thing finally breaking into 24.
Okay. Now here's the other thing here is that I believe 24.27 was your all-time high print, your intraday high from yesterday. That just got steamrolled on this little pop here on NBIS. Folks, I'll say this, we're only 50 cents away from 25. My entry on this is in a 17 handle. It was a starter position. So yeah, every day I've been like, oh, I wish I bought more. But honestly, I think that the sell time might be coming up here, at least for my trade. This is a perfect example of a trade that I would scale out of on normal conditions. But because I don't have a lot, I don't feel like scaling out is giving me any advantage. I'll probably take this off and then wait for a pullback at some point. I'll keep you posted on it. Still long every share that I've bought from that initial starter.
Riley broke 7, getting a mention that Lucy's curling, and Daniel Akintunde, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, GLYC is getting a mention by him.
Where are we getting a mention? Hey Ryan, I just have better results with pennies.
No. Further down, he's mentioning GLYC.
Yeah, well, that is a penny here, and
gotcha.
and so I'm glad that you brought that up, because while I have really poor results with penny stocks, this is not the case for everybody. And this kind of really goes to what I was just saying about how everyone's your own individual trader. Well, I don't trade these and I actually filter these out of some of my lists. I still mention them because I recognize that some of our community is doing it. Crow, you have been calling this all day. You've been calling this one here all day. Huge pop on volume there. Daniel, I hope you're banking today. No wrong answers if you're making money. Let me tell you that.
I'm trying to see why we're getting such a pull here in SHPH. Maybe it's just the time for it to get that pull.
Impulse move pull, SHPH.
Mm-hmm. I was just seeing if they had any other announcement, but no.
Elon Musk saying that all energy long-term will be from solar. I'm not sure if that's going to have an effect on any. Nope. And the solar ETF still down here. That might take some time, but that's something to keep in your back pocket there.
I'd like to see what Tim Melvin has to say about that.
Well, you can ask him tomorrow.
I'll ask him. I will ask him.
NXL a little bit here. Which one? Sorry.
PSQH also. This one we were trading earlier as well. This one also losing VWAP and going lower.
Also, one more thing here. One more comment that I wanted to mention. Tom V. 13, I'm going to speak for you here. If I incorrectly speak for you, please correct me. The beauty of you guys compared to other channels is that you include the viewers and accept their input. That is a great feature. So selfishly, one of the things I recognized very early on is that people of varying experience levels can be extremely helpful in trading. This show is not about me and not about 13. It's about the group. So in order for that to actually be the case, we need to include the group every single day. So if you're watching a channel that doesn't include that, I wonder what the content of that channel is actually about. Here it is about you folks. How many times have you folks made money for us or other chat members? That's the whole idea of what we're trying to do here.
That's some pretty good news on B. Riley too, a company that was looking like it was going to be on its knocking on the door of bankruptcy. They got $236 million in cash proceeds from selling brand assets.
Okay. I'll tell you what, the market is liking this here today. Stock's up 24% here. Didn't this have a short interest? Yeah, 55% of the float shorted here on this one. 3 days to cover this. I know we don't have a days to cover over 5 here. I'm still going to say that this is a squeeze candidate. You might be seeing some of that action here today.
And if we get to 10, we could see some more fireworks as there's a gap to fill. You go to the daily chart. Ocean Sky asking about recommendations for LAC. We can't really recommend. We can't recommend. When to buy and sell. We can tell you levels that we like.
And the chat has been doing that all day, by the way. So there's plenty of content on there for LAC already. We've actually looked at it several times. Yeah, that's the other thing. So we're talking about what this channel is and isn't. 13. Neither of us are licensed financial advisors. As a result, we do not have our Series 7 license. We cannot make recommendations for you, nor can we trade your account for you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to tell you what we're seeing. We're going to, tell you different entries that we're looking at, but we cannot advise you.
Mm-hmm. And these are, the things that we're trading. These are day trades. So don't intend on holding these unless you're doing some kind of a swing trade for a different reason. But everything that we are looking at and talking about, these are things that we are not going to end our day holding. We are trading these. We're in and out pretty quick, minutes to seconds, if you will. So if you're still holding something and you think it's going to go higher, that's because that's what you believe. For LAC, it looks like the entire move has come right back into the open almost. So I think that if you're still holding this and you're looking and you're hoping for more before say 11 a.m., I think the move may have already been in. That's just what I'm seeing here. I don't know how much higher or lower this is going to go, but the volume that we get is usually more robust in the morning, and it really starts to fade once we get to 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. and then lunch hour. It really starts to drop off. So that's one of the reasons why we are in and out of these things, just in a matter of seconds or minutes. LAC might be good in the future. Sorry.
Walter said he thought this was a dating service. Boy, I've been doing this wrong from the beginning, and I apologize for the results that you must have. If that's the case, that's no good. That is no good here. John, I'm glad that you enjoy it. We're definitely open to feedback. And Shaq, so you're Shaq at the highs. They have earnings tomorrow. I'll tell you what, I am nervous about. Doesn't Kava have earnings this week too? Here's Shaq. This is tomorrow before the market opens. Let me look at Kava here real quick.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, excuse me. So you're going to get some of these food stocks here pretty soon.
So Yum Brands should be coming up, or did they already report? Yep, nope, they report next week. Report on election day.
Comp saying, so here is a timely question. This is actually a really good one. If Musk is talking about solar being the answer, yet he's shaking hands with drill baby drill, confused? I'd be surprised if you weren't. No, this is not confusing even a little bit, because pretty much everyone has been discussing that going to solar is going to be a process. And it's going to be oil that takes us there. It's not going to be anything else. Maybe there will be something else like nuclear in the future here. But no, this is not confusing at all. Mandates to get on solar by X date is silly. Transitioning from oil to solar in a way that doesn't jeopardize the energy market or the economy, much, much smarter plan.
Now, also remember, Musk is talking about solar being the solution because he owns a solar company. He's been selling solar panels for a very long time.
It is clean though, but it's a really good point. He does own a solar company and a battery. The power wall, right? The Tesla power, isn't that designed to store energy from the solar panels to be reused at a later date?
Not just that, but also to store from, if you have just a regular utility company, it'll store power there. So if there's an outage, your home is still running on power through the power wall. While the utility company gets its act together.
Okay.
All right. Looks like DJT is really, really fallen now. Losing 46.
Probably good for it, to be honest, after the run it's been on.
Yeah. So we're coming back into the consolidation from yesterday, which is between 46.75 and 45. So this could be a demand zone that it's entering here. I would want to wait and see if we get some consolidation down here, or at least stop falling. And if it's within that range I just mentioned, then we have a pretty good shot of this turning around and taking us back up to VWAP.
This deleting, yes, basically the extended session gains, right? So the after hours yesterday, the pre-market today, deleted. Deleted.
All right.
BKYI, the volume, now we're at a point, especially with it being past 10 o'clock here, now we're at a point where this volume really needs to tell the story. This volume needs to start expanding if this is going to show any type of up move. I know we're kind of curling a little bit here off the bottom, but I'm not convinced with the volume levels yet. We'll see if that changes. Definitely one to keep on watch, but don't see it happening yet. LIXT has shown us nothing.
Yeah, at the very least, BKYI goes to VWAP. I currently have that at 152.
Hive got mentioned. A QUBT. Hive was mentioned, but there was someone hitting Hive earlier. Here's you. Let me go ahead and bring up Hive. It disappeared off my scanner there. Right back to the VWAP. Boom.
UAVS, we were talking about this one earlier. I want to say it's looking tired. Those upper shadows are kind of giving you an indication that there might be a little bit more selling than buying right here, but still above VWAP. So we'll see what happens with this one. I think I'd want to be careful with this, but if we take out the high of 336, nullifies those upper shadows.
Sweet. Elon Musk says humanoid robots will be priced between $20,000 and $25,000 by 2040. Okay, humanoid robots. I'll be honest, I don't know about you folks. I am not ready for that. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. It has nothing to do with the person, the stock, the price, just a robot. I'm not ready. I'm just not a humanoid robot. I'm just not ready.
So wait, hold on. Let me see if I got this right. he's hyping up a 15-year.
Well, I don't know the context surrounding this. Let's be better than a lot of the people in the media and not assume. The only thing that I'm going off of here is a very, very short quote. So I don't want to make any assumptions about what he means or where this is coming from or anything like this. This is just literally the quote 4 minutes ago. Quote, Elon Musk says humanoid robots will be priced between 20 and 25K by 2040.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just, the way I think is that that's so far out. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 50? It's only been almost 5 years since we had COVID, and look at how much inflation has changed the face of our economy and our country. Who knows where we're going to be in 15 years? Adjusted for inflation, those things will be $100,000.
The other thing here is like, you're talking about something at 2040. First of all, bro, it's 2024 and we have arguably the craziest election coming up here in a week. I am not thinking 16 years past today. I'm just not doing that right now. I've got some other things on my plate first that we'll take a look at. Oh, that's good stuff though. Good laugh.
And my kids will be out of high school before then. I already have plans for that. That's as far as I've thought.
You know what? I can't even imagine. Do you have college plans for your kids yet? Because I would imagine there might be some sleepless nights in there.
Well, I've already got them set up with 529Bs and whatnot. So trying to do it right. Trying to do it right in the path forward. Yeah. Yeah. Which comment, mine or Musk's? If it's mine, I can understand because
FFIV here real quick. This had earnings yesterday. Looks like they also approved an additional $1 billion in the buyback. This up 10%, doing a good job holding higher, although it's been unable to move from this level. How did Boot Barn finish up here? Boot Barn did roll over and print some new lows. So I actually had some remorse yesterday. I was watching this and I wanted to buy this in the after hours just to flip it in the morning. And when we got the news about the CEO being out, I said to myself, maybe I shouldn't hold this. And then 10 minutes later, things 13 points off the lows. And I was like, Ryan, you're a dummy. And then here we are here today. So, boy, things change as fast as the wind blows, it seems.
Smoke Tuna mentioning that VTYX is setting up, and it looks like 240 is the level to take out. That's where it was topping out all pre-market and in the intraday session. So we take out 240. Okay. Let's see where this goes. I guess the first, we could say 280 would be the first spot, followed by 310. Maybe 320. It could go higher than that, but I don't know how much higher. I think 370 would have some pretty stiff resistance, though. Also getting asked about TWG, the top wealth group holding. This one's getting slammed.
You take that. I'll be right back. 1 sec.
So this one down 13%. Let me see if there's any news on it. If there's not, well, maybe it's just down on no more Diddy parties. I don't know. This one actually had a huge move down back on the 25th last week, Friday. So it's been getting pops this week intermittently. Again, this is not one to just hold on to because it's just another one of these junky penny names that seems like the only thing they do is caviar. Did you like that one, Al? Want to make a U.S. produced iPhone? Not particularly. There's some real big questions about, if I don't know if I have enough time to get into it, but apparently the CCP wants Apple to open up a back door and to Apple products and allow them to be able to surveil consumer phones in China. Because they're already doing that with other brands. They want Apple to do that as well. So Tim Cook's, I think, supposed to be over there or is over there trying to, get that squared away. And if he can't, if he says, no, we're not going to do that, then China might say, okay, well, if that's your position, then say goodbye to your supply chains. very, very tough position I think Apple's in right now, if that's the way that the CCP is trying to take it. We need an Elon phone powered by Starlink. You know, Crow, that may be coming.
Yep.
I don't know how soon that's going to happen, but it might be coming. And I think you don't need to look any further than ASTS to know that that's actually going to, that's a very real possibility, because ASTS is putting out very similar satellites. So customers like T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T can reach rural customers that aren't hardlined into their area.
And give that Tesla phone some features from Eric Prince's unplugged phone, some security features like an actual battery disconnect and tracking, cookie and app blocking. Oh, give me some of that in the Tesla phone. I will throw my money at it. No question. Nick Brown, good morning.
Hey, Nick Brown.
Awesome that you're joining us. Hopefully college is going well for you. I will say that Steelers game last night, pretty awesome. I know you were singing Renegade at the top of your lungs. I know you, Nick Brown. Congrats on your win yesterday, boss.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. I enjoyed it. Getting asked about from Chicago Realtor, any thoughts on PFE for a long-term swing or trade? I own Pfizer for the long term. I've owned them for a while. They have an attractive dividend, and it's still a pretty good one right now, even down at this price. So this is a long-term hold for me. I've already had this for years. I'm probably going to end up holding this for years, maybe trimming here and there if it gets up closer to the 40s again. Yeah, I like this company primarily for the dividend. They do pay out a pretty good chunk of change.
Just kind of rolling through the list of movers here. Maybe Lightbridge the best. Don't really see a whole lot of stuff here. BKYI, I know we talked about this maybe going later here. I don't know. Looks like that kind of dried up here. Penny Stock coming back to VWAP. Lucy really hasn't shown any strength. Riley still kind of grinding higher here. Talked about Lightbridge a little bit.
Just waiting on that VTYX that was getting mentioned earlier by some of the folks in the chat. We're right there at the breakout spot at 240. But we need to see much more volume.
Evoke from yesterday's doing nothing. VTYX. I typed in the wrong letter there. Sorry, 13.
Is Mark Cuban removing himself from the public eye? I thought he was just on a couple of
I was gonna say I maybe it's just me, but I seem to see him a lot. I will say, Michael, I am probably biased because one of the things that I do every night, I wonder if I'm the only weirdo that does this. You guys will have to let me know. My TV that I watch in like my family room, before I go to sleep, I turn the volume down to 13, interestingly enough, and I put it on CNBC so that when I'm really tired in the morning and I turn the TV on, don't have that full cup of coffee down yet, the TV doesn't blow me away with some crazy sports highlight and volume that I was probably listening to it the night before. And every time I do this, Michael, Shark Tank is on. And every time I seem to see Kevin O'Leary or Mark Cuban, I feel like they're in my house every night. So maybe my personal viewpoint of this is skewed, but it sure seems like Mark Cuban is involved. We also discussed this in the happy hour. Some of the politically connected people were saying that Mark Cuban is trying to be the SEC chairman in the event of a Harris win. So keep that under your hat too. Chris is saying, you want to know what I do every night? And Chris, I am not going to take the bait. No, thank you. I'm sure you study. We'll leave it there. Oh.
You're talking about the way you have to turn down your TV. I wish I could get some more of that out of my car. Sometimes my wife will leave the volume up so high when she's rocking out, pulling into the garage. She forgets to turn it down before I have to go and use the car. And I'm just like this, trying to turn it down after I start the car.
Yeah, look, those surprise volume levels, they can do a number on you. And I just kind of know how to protect myself from it. That's all. Okay, real quick here. It is 10:37, so let's get a lay of the land here. We're actually going to have Dan Leach come on and do an all-access interview starting at 10:50. But, folks, I confirmed with Anne-Marie she is available today, so we will be coming back at 11 for Anne-Marie's show. I do think we have Google on tap for that, and then also maybe Humana. So if you want to have some options trades put together, we're going to be doing that with Anne-Marie right after the All Access here.
Not many people like PFE, and I've talked to some folks, and I understand their position, so I can understand that. I really just like it for the dividend, mostly. I know, Jay Rice, you think that buying a bond would be better. I'm positioned in bonds too, so
yeah,
it's more of a diversification thing. I have Merck and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson for my biotechs.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
B. Riley still trying to flirt with $7 again here. Big wall at 7 and it has to push through, and the volume is pretty low. So don't know that it's necessarily going to push through there this time around. We need to see an expansion of volume for it to do that.
THC Tenet Healthcare higher today after earnings. If I take out, sorry.
Looks like we finally got that. I mean, it's not a very big breakout, but we finally got that move over 240 in VTYX.
I literally just took that off my screen here.
It's a very small pop, and now it's coming back in. The volume needs to be much better than this. And that's what we were saying earlier about how volume can strip itself away as the morning goes on. Here we are, almost 10 o'clock. Volume's leaving a lot of these names. It's going to get even worse as lunch approaches. Some of these will end up coming back after the lunch hour, but most won't. Let's see what else we got here. SHPH. This one looks like it's done for the day. Maybe it comes back later, but if it loses 175, I think that's going to be it for now.
That's SHPH.
Mm-hmm. Looks like BKYI trying to turn around here, finding some support from the bottom of consolidation in the pre-market. Also the 65 EMA. Volume needs to be better. Again, with this current volume, the best I think you could hope for is a touch of VWAP, but I don't know that it's going to break through it. You're going to have better volume than this. Drug is a short now? Now?
Did it flash a short signal for us? Yeah, it does look like it's kind of rolling over here. 15 minutes still kind of looks like a flag. To me, I think this 42 snap? 42 snap might print lower.
Yeah, it's still very extended too.
Look at that VSIG that you mentioned here earlier, this penny stock that went from 7 cents to 13 cents back to 9 cents.
Mm-hmm. It do be like that sometimes.
DJT, nice little bounce off that 44 level. That was one of yesterday's level. I tell you what, 13, your recommendation on just following the technicals, that is as crispy as it gets. It looks like that's all that's going on here. Ticker DJT. Peloton spiking on volume. Was there news here? No.
It seems like that was, technicals have been what has worked for, pretty much all year.
Indeed.
DJT did, spike right through that consolidation area from the price action yesterday, but came right back up above it. You were looking at which one?
I just took a quick look at Peloton, but I went to see if they had news. Didn't see anything new here. Peloton at yesterday's pre-market high area. I don't know if there's a trade here. Volume is still kind of light. We did move up on a little bit of a volume pop there, but I still think it's too light for a trade.
So they have earnings in 2 days. They've got a short interest. They're approaching the 500-day SMA. They're actually almost there. That is going to be at 675 when they'll touch it. Do you think we'll hear about how things are going with Costco?
Well, no, because I believe those bikes do not go on sale until the 15th of November through February. So that hasn't started. Now, will they mention it? Will they talk about plans and forecasts? Maybe. Don't know the answer to that one. But no, I don't think we're going to get an update yet. Amanda, Rye, did you say the expected move is 80% the price of the straddle, trying to get an AMD expected move? Yes. So really quickly, for any of you that are wondering, do I have time for this? Yeah. Any of you that are wondering what Amanda is asking about, I learned from Dan Nathan. It's not as if he sat me down, but he gave a lesson on this on Fast Money one night. He was basically saying, if you're ever trying to figure out the implied move, you want to take two things. You either want to add the call and the put together. So if we go to the option chain here and we select the November 15th expiry, which is the monthly contract here, this is for Apple, for example, here, I would add 540 and 680. That is the at the money together. So let's see. Let's just do this. What was the ticker you were asking for, Amanda? Why don't I just do that instead? This will only take a sec. AMD. Okay. AMD. We've got, let's get a calculator out here so I don't make a bonehead move that you guys laugh at me for. We got 775 as at the ask at the money call. And we have $10 for the at the money put. So plus 10. That gives us 1775. Now we're going to multiply that by 0.8, which is 80%. That gives me 14.2. So according to the calculation here, the options price in a $14.20 move. Now, you could also do this as the straddle, right? So I would actually I'm actually not even sure how to do that in here because I just have calls and puts on. But I've always done it where I add the call to the put. So we'll see if that's what we get. 14.2 is the number that I got there, Amanda. And actually, let's see. Thinkorswim does this for you. They often have a different number. Thinkorswim is pricing in a $10.75 move. So they're pricing in less of a move than what I just gave you.
Bitcoin, about 45 minutes ago, tested the 72,000 level, and it came back in. Now it's coming back up here for another test. I think this particular test could push through that 72,000 and take us up higher.
Now, I wonder if that's also going to bleed over to some of the stocks that follow Bitcoin.
Yeah, that should.
Clean Spark a little bit lower here. Yes, the Bitcoin is off its highs. I guess I wouldn't have expected that. Coin a little bit stronger.
Coin's just going to rake it in because no matter if they buy or sell, it's going to collect those transaction fees. NXL, in your opinion, pushes over $3. Let's take a look at NXL.
NXL was one from earlier. Someone was on this. Someone from our chat was trading this earlier. Could this go to $3? I mean, yeah, it's really going to need something to change along the volume lines. And at some point, I think there's going to be a battle here at 290. This is your intraday high from Friday.
Yep, I like 290. Yep, that's the good spot.
So those would be things that I would watch for first.
Let's see, just looking at some of these other ones. UABS went as high as 365, came back in underneath VWAP currently.
UPXI getting multiple mentions here. This was a recent halt fest. UPX, I have to type it in right. I have to not be a dummy and type it in correctly here. Here he goes. This is a little pop on volume. There's no news associated with this. No, this is just looks like a volume pop here. UPXI.
Looks like it's getting resistance from the high from last week, which I have at 855. Seems to be about where pretty close to where the high is today.
This still moving.
Yeah,
sorry.
Breaking through 855. I don't want to say that it's for sure going to go there, but it looks like 1150 could be a potential spot where it runs to. This needs to have the volume to match.
Smoke Tuna, ridiculous call here. You called that right at 195. Here we are, 11 cents higher, flirting with that VWAP. Watch for this to pop over. This is ticker LIXT. That was really, really timely, Tuna. Really, really timely. Sydney asking about cores. I saw James DePore tweeting about that yesterday, but I didn't actually follow it. Corsair actually still holding from yesterday's level.
It looks like DJT is trying to recapture BWAP and the $50 handle.
Even the Riley 5% senior notes, that ticker Riley G, are moving here along with that Riley move. Here's your DJT move.
Yeah, no, I just need to wait and see if that's what we get. The MACD is starting to curl in the 5-minute. It's looking like it's trying to push up there. We're in that consolidation from yesterday. No, we're not. Actually, we're just beneath or just above it. I'm sorry. We're just above that consolidation from yesterday.
All right, your BKYI curling here. All right, 13, we are going to go to our all access here. We're going to be back here with Anne-Marie. 13, any closing words for the group here?
Folks, you have been awesome today. Hope you hold on to your gains. Don't do anything risky. We're starting to see the volume leave the market. Just hold on to those gains. And if you're done for the day, have a nice rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Really good stuff there, 13. Thanks for everything. And I'll catch you on happy hour later. Maybe you'll be around the chat for Anne-Marie. We'll see. Sometimes you do that. We'll see. Take care of yourself. Really good stuff here, 13. Okay. We are going to go to all access, but first, it is going to be my pleasure to introduce you to Dan Leach. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here. Dan, how you doing?
Right, guy. Great to be with you, my man.
Look, first of all, you have an excellent choice in shirts here today. I got to say, I don't know if you could have done that any better. I just have to ask you before we get down to brass tacks here, can you give me a 20-second overview of what you thought of the NFL weekend that we just had?
Well, I was going to tell you, Ryan, I'm a longtime sports broadcaster and a huge Detroit Lions fan. I hear you like the Bears. I need to know how you feel about that Hail Mary.
Dan, I appreciate you throwing that on me here. I will say this is the worst regular season loss that I can remember in some time. I wouldn't quite say this is worse than the Cody Parkey double doink over the Eagles, but boy, oh boy, that really sucked for the defense to hold a really good team and really just keep them locked up and out of the end zone, to blow it on a play where one of your players' head is not in the game. We'll leave it at that. Really, really disappointing. That was an extremely tough loss.
Ryan, listen, I'm a Lions fan. I've gone through about 55,000 of those throughout my career and life, but that was a pretty bad one. But Ryan, I'm going to get things cooking here. I'll see you in 10 minutes with Anne-Marie. It's so great to be involved with you.
Sounds good. Take care, Dan. We'll talk more. We'll be back and forth.
We got lots to talk about, my friend.
Good stuff. Take it away, boss.
All right. Thanks so much. All right, everybody, let's get rolling with All Access. This is where we give you exclusive insights from the executives of publicly traded companies. Today, we've got a really good one for you. As Bitcoin is nearing all-time highs, I'm excited to have this conversation with Dean Skurka, the president and CEO of WonderFi. All Access starts now. Dean, so great to have you with us today.
Great to be here. How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's a great time to be alive, isn't it? Especially in what you're, dealing with in the crypto markets. Can you give us an overview of WonderFi?
Absolutely. WonderFi is publicly traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the symbol WNDR, and in the US under WONDF. WonderFi is a global leader in centralized and decentralized financial services and products. Our flagship brands are BitBuy and CoinSquare, which are two of Canada's largest regulated crypto trading platforms, servicing over 1.7 million Canadians with over 1.3 billion in assets under custody. And we recently expanded our efforts into the Australia and Asia Pacific region through the launch of BitBuy APAC.
Those are a lot of solid numbers, my friend. And can you tell us about your Treasury, Bitcoin, and Ethereum buying program?
Absolutely. We thought earlier this year, based on the run-up in the Q1 with Bitcoin breaking all-time highs, in this consolidation phase that we saw through Q2, it was a really good opportunity for WonderFi to put Bitcoin and Ethereum on the balance sheet. This is proven in the short term to be something that has been, the right decision. But ultimately, we believe in the industry we service. We believe in the long-term value of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we want to support the industry and be a signal for the broader participants that these assets are here to stay, and there is a lot of long-term value in holding onto these assets.
Oh, no, I love that message, Dean. And now I know you just launched new versions of your BitBuy and CoinScore apps. What's new in version 2.0?
Yeah, there's a lot to like. We've really focused on the user experience. WonderFi has consolidated 5 crypto trading platforms over the last 2.5 years. And through that process, we have spent a lot of time on integrating the users and getting to a point where we are today, where we operate 2 brands on one tech stack. Following that process, we thought it was really important to focus on the actual platform itself, focus on enhanced trading experiences, additional products and services, a refresh on the user experience and feel of the platform. And that, is a step in the direction we're taking more broadly, where we're really focusing on organic growth and improving the product in a way that will really resonate with our users. And another example of that would be today's announcement, where we announced that we have partnered with Fundstrat, Tom Lee, who I'm sure you're familiar with, and where we're going to be providing our users in Canada exclusive access to the research and insights that FSI provides. Just another example of ways in which we're trying to educate our users, give them information that will allow them to make more informed decisions, and ultimately provide a really wholesome experience for them to access digital assets.
Dean, I love that. And as you mentioned, organic growth is such an important thing as well. And Dean, let's take a look at the macro picture. What do rate lowerings do for Bitcoin and crypto as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. You think back to the last bull market we had, rates were zero. There was effective money printing going on. And while we don't have that money printing just yet, we do have rates coming down. We think that opens up a lot of opportunity for retail participants to feel more comfortable investing in general, but certainly investing in riskier assets, of which today digital assets certainly fall within. And so when we think about 6 months, 9 months, 12 months out from where we are today, assuming that rates will continue to be lowered, we just expect more investable capital to start flowing back into the digital asset sector. People will feel more encouraged and more optimistic about the future, and that will lead them to make more investment decisions. Ultimately, when you look at where Bitcoin and the digital asset market sits today, there is a lot to like about the next 6 to 12 months. Certainly as rates come down, we think that will be one of the factors that encourages participants to re-enter the market.
Sure. And by the way, speaking about the future, we got an election coming up in 1 week from today. How do you see it affecting Bitcoin in the short and long terms?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great question. And it's something that's been talked about a lot recently. I don't think it's a coincidence that we've seen Trump's odds to win the election. I believe they're around 65, 66% now, increase in the run up that Bitcoin's had over the last few weeks. When you think back to the election over the last 6 to 12 months, Trump has been very vocal about the digital asset industry, trying to promote it from within the United States. And clearly participants are taking note. We ultimately think that whoever wins the election, the amount of money that's gone into lobbying on behalf of this industry, it will ultimately be a net positive moving forward. But we can't help but see this clear signs that a Donald Trump win next week would certainly be a short-term catalyst for the digital asset industry. Many people are expecting, if he is successful, that Bitcoin will go right through all-time highs, although we might hit that, sometime today or later this week. Assuming we haven't, people really expect that to be the next meaningful catalyst for the next leg up.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly said. And like you said, no matter who wins, it seems like it's definitely a positive for the crypto market in general with all the attention. And we did see an influx of capital after the launch of Bitcoin ETFs. Will this continue? Do you believe it will accelerate as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You saw a really strong response in the first quarter of this year to the launch of these products. By any measure, these are some of the most successful ETFs that have launched ever. Gold ETFs, when they launched in 2004, took them about 5 years to reach $20 billion of AUM. Bitcoin ETFs have done that in the first 9 months of this year. When you think about the trajectory from a reputational perspective, you have people like Blackstone, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton really supporting this industry in a meaningful way that's never existed before. When you think about the exposure and the ease of access that ETFs create for a much broader audience than existed in crypto previously, we can't help but think about the doors being blown wide open here. And when you think about the success that these ETF issuers have had with these products, you're going to start seeing follow-on products, and you're going to start seeing them continue to invest in these products through additional sales channels or sales efforts to continue piling on the success. And so we think that the narrative in the first half of the year certainly played out as Bitcoin ran to all-time highs. The narrative subdued a little bit during the last part of the year, but you're starting to see the narrative pick back up as we start to hit these benchmark numbers like 20 billion in net asset inflows. You're going to start to see that continue. And these products are just the starting point for these, broader ETF issuers, like I said. And so we certainly expect this to play out in the background and continue to be part of the broader narrative moving forward.
Yeah, definitely a very exciting time in crypto. And listen, you mentioned that partnership with Fundstrat. Your stock is up 15% today based on that news, and the Bitcoin push, of course, to all-time highs. What is your outlook on WonderFi and crypto in general for quarter, Q4 in 24 and in 25?
Yeah, absolutely. So WonderFi has spent the better part of the last 2 years consolidating the regulated market for cryptocurrency trading platforms in Canada. Through that process, we've acquired 5 platforms and the user base from Bitstamp, which was a global participant that left the Canadian market. Following the consolidation effort that we undertook to bring these platforms onto one tech stack operating under 2 brands, we are now focused on international expansion using Australia as our first entry point to new markets, and also with WonderFi Labs, which is focused on building out innovative products that exist on chain. Over the last part of the year, we have seen a really big trend where retail participants are becoming more and more comfortable interacting on chain. Coinbase through their wallet and Base would be a really good example of that. We believe that WonderFi is very well positioned to build out these products and services with an overall focus on trust and transparency to bring the next cohort of retail participants globally on chain. And so when you think about 2025, we expect WonderFi to really build out its presence internationally, starting with Australia, but we're currently evaluating other jurisdictions to move into as well, and developing a real presence on chain through WonderFi Labs. And so when you think about WonderFi in 2025 and beyond, you're going to talk about a global cryptocurrency platform that offers services across the centralized and decentralized ecosystems, all focused around providing trusted, transparent, and great products for the global audience that is continuing to show interest in the digital asset industry.
I love it. What a time to be alive. Dean Skurka, the CEO and president of WonderFi. Thank you so much for joining me on All Access. It was a fascinating conversation.
Absolutely happy to be here and come back anytime.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'm going to toss it back to Ryan, and I'll bring on Anne-Marie to talk more on options. Thanks so much to everyone.
Thank you very much, Dan. Great job on that interview. Thanks very much. And we will see you next time. That leaves room for Anne-Marie Baiynd. Let's go ahead and not waste any more time. Let's bring her on. Anne-Marie, how are you doing today? It's great to see you.
It's good to be here. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing better today. I'll tell you what, yesterday was a tough day, but today I'm doing a lot better. And of course, we are a week out from a gigantic election. So ask me again in a week and we'll see where we're at here. Now, interestingly enough, today we actually do have some stocks reporting here. I know we've got Google and Snap after the bell here today. Do you want to start with one of those by chance?
Sure.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. And folks, if you folks want us to do any more of the set up any more of these options trades, let us know. We'll go ahead and do that here. But I think we are going to start with Google. So, Anne-Marie, do your magic.
All right. You know what I've noticed is that in the recent days of earnings releases, the pre-market positions, the pre-earnings positions have not done as well as the post-earnings positions, unless we found that very rare sweet spot like we did. We were talking about Tesla, and I talked about that strangle, and I said, hey, listen, could be worth nothing, could be really, really big. And I got to tell you, on Friday at 12 noon, that 65-cent strangle was worth $12.80. Sadly, I didn't hang on to it that long. I closed it at about $3.90, but that's really what we're looking for. We're really looking for mispricing. Otherwise, we'll position the setups, but then say, maybe take this after earnings. to
Really
see
quick
how it
there,
goes.
Anne-Marie. I know we've kind of had some change up in the schedule here, but I would be remiss if I did not mention that a couple of our chatters that are regulars in your room actually mentioned some of those Tesla trades, and I believe we shared some of them. So kudos to you. That thing was an absolute monster. Good stuff.
Cool.
Let's see what you got here on Google.
Okay, so let's take a look at the chart overall. We've got $7 for the ATR, and let's take a peek at what the volume looks like. So we've got a little bit of a cross current. We've got the tighter moving averages bouncing off of this value area high. This looks like it's going to be a floor for Google right here at this 146 into earnings. 193 is the old high, and then we've got ourselves a volume pocket right there at 166. And so let's take a look and see what the traders in this environment are thinking about. So the market makers, $10, and the pricing actually looks like about $11.50. So they are pricing in more than the ATR by about 50%. So these options are probably fairly juiced. So in my mind, we've got a couple of things that could happen. One is, let's say the chart, let's say they do great and earnings are fantastic. If we take a look at the last two earnings, we had one earnings formation that rocketed up, sat sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then broke out. And then one earnings that broke down and continued down. It went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in the range, and then broke down one more week before it turned around. We could see that very easily here. So two things. If we take a peek at this and we go, all right, there's my box of motion right here, and I'm either going to break out and move a multiple of that, or break down and move a multiple of that, or I'm going to sit in the range. So what they are pricing in is about $10, right? So that's 169 to 179. So they are pricing in a move into 179, and then a move really right here at the 160 area, right? So they are trading, thinking the same thing that we are, that a floor has been made in the position. So what we need to have, particularly if the price action does what we think it's going to do, we need to have a little bit of time on our hands. And so if we have time on our hands, we could put ourselves out in this edge or way down. I don't really think it comes down here at all. So, let's trade directionally.
Okay.
Let's see what the pricing gives us.
Okay.
So if we trade directionally to the upside and we go, all right, they're $10, $11. If we go $10, $11 down, the 180 is giving us $2 and some change. So it'd have to move outside of the market makers formation for us to make any money at all. And then by the time we get to 90, and it's got to happen within 3 days, right? This is what we're looking at. So we're going to change things around here a little bit, and we're going to move through the space. We're going to see if we use the 180 and use November the 1st, that's going to be expensive and it's going to expire very quickly. If we use the 8th, it's 2 pennies more. And if we go to the end of the month, it's still high. So this is telling us definitively, listen, this is a projected path. Here's my thought process. My thought process is the following. Whichever way Google moves, it has a tendency to sit sideways after the move and then continue in the direction of trend. So the best trade is going to be after the earnings, not before. Why? Because volatility is so stinking high. Look at it. It takes all the way down into January of 2025 for it to get to its relative numbers of 32%. So there's all this vol that's packed into these earnings that are saying, listen, this price action, it's juiced. We're charging for it $11.26 essentially, and they're only thinking it's going to move $10. And the average true range is $7. I think that's what it said. And so, yeah, $7.68. So they have really juiced this. My thought is wait for the earnings trade to be over and then choose either the December butterfly that's upside or the December butterfly. If it fades, I would say, let's say it comes out terrible. I would still say you buy the long butterfly because the chart has got some opportunities for continued upside in my mind, especially if it comes in deeper on the edge. So I know you're saying to yourself, gosh, this doesn't sound like stuff she says at all. So here's the reason. What I've been noticing with many of these trades here into the earnings cycle is they're juicing a lot of vol and it's stripping out, and then the move is getting made. But by the time we take the trade and the vol strips out, we're 60, 70% down. Case in point.
PayPal. I think what you're describing here, I mean, you probably have a different example. I'm sorry for ambushing you there.
Go ahead, please.
But what you were just talking about, we saw that on PayPal this morning. They were pricing in a huge move. The option sellers were the ones that ended up winning the day because we didn't get that expected move. And anyone that was buying those was in trouble. So I noticed that you pulled up McDonald's there. I didn't even look at that. I know that they reported earnings here, but I literally all I saw in my head was the PayPal ticker. You were saying that because we literally saw that this morning.
And so the wonderful thing, let's look at PayPal for a post-earnings trade.
Okay.
All right. So let's take a look at PayPal. Look, tremendous trend, up and up. I've got these moving averages so that when they're going in the same direction, we've got relative trend. We just need to watch for higher lows. So not sure what, PayPal, its earnings were higher than estimates, and it's fading a little bit, but they're used to beating earnings for whatever the case is. But the volatility crush is real. I mean, it is absolutely real. And so for PayPal, I think this was 93% yesterday. So if we say, all right, let's take a look at what a 15-day move might give us. If this chart, here's earnings, the bounce up, comes back, retraces it the following week, and then moves up into trend. This one, higher, but resumes trend. This one, lower, but resumes trend. So here we are in the space. We're expecting it to resume trend. So what do we expect it to do? To get to the top of the value area high. If that occurs, And so we easily can look at that and go, all right, let's look at December into whoa, 85. Yeah, this, I don't know that it's going to give us much into December. We could do an iron condor. That's not going to deliver much at all. Yeah, there's nothing here yet. If we put an alert down here at 72, however, we can take a short put spread. We can take a long call spread, but let it fade into the support zone. And that might take a couple of weeks, just like here. So I'm going to write this in my notebook.
I was going to say, we might be able to check back in on this when the trade presents itself. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Friday, maybe we'll do Friday or the following Tuesday.
Either works for me. That's gorgeous.
All right. And so there we got the Google thought. All right. So let's say you're a betting man and you go, listen, I want a trade for Google. So you go, all right, this is going to be the all or none. So what's it going to be? This is GOOG this time as we stare it down. Let's do the L, GOGL. All right, so remove. All right, so here it is, breaking back to the upside. Let's take a full bullish stance on this one and say, listen, this thing is going to go, it's going to hit 180 and just scream forward, or it's going to hit maybe 160. All right. So, but we're not going to look at the downside. We're just going to look at what if this thing goes to 180? Well, if it goes to 180, they're thinking it could easily go to 180. So if you say, hey, what if it really starts zooming like Tesla did, you could choose this 187.50 and buy it outright for 65 cents. Not a two-way trade, just a one-way trade into the heavy congestion on the week. Now, the problem is it could stall at 175, right? Simply because of this heavy congestion here. And so you're looking at something where you go, listen, this 65-cent thing, it could just blow the doors off something and it could end up being worth $5. But it could also be zero. And if you say to yourself, hey, it could be worth 175, if you buy that, 50% of the option price is going to get absolutely destroyed tomorrow morning if it doesn't even get close, because you've only got 3 days. So I say, if you want to swing for the fences, go wide and just pick one up, and then that's your lottery ticket. Don't go buying a dozen of these thinking, oh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. Never, ever do that. Never do that. The delta of this is 1, right? The delta is 1 that it will get there. And so you've got a 99% chance of the trade going against you unless it goes the way that, Tesla sort of did. So it's that same kind of thing. If you're thinking to yourself, hey, I'm going to be I'm going to be maverick and I'm going to go, no, this thing's going to lose 150. That 149 option is, 32 cents. I would not buy both of them. I would just pick a directional move because the chart's got so much upside pressure overall.
Okay. Really good stuff there on Google. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, we covered Goog and Goog L with those two trades there. So really awesome stuff. Okay, we did have a mention earlier about Humana, which I believe is set to report this evening. Let me pull that up here. So I wanted to say, I know we've set a trade up on Humana here before. Excuse me, this reports earnings tomorrow morning, Anne Marie. So this is going to be before the bell tomorrow morning. But Humana, do you think there's an earnings trade for this name?
Let's go peek at the chains.
Perfect.
Okay, so they're calling for $8. Holy smokes, the ATR is 28. Okay, so we might see some mispricing here. This, I'm getting a little excited. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, yeah. See, they've got a market makers of $8, but look at how much they're charging for this straddle. Right? That's $18. So it's twice the amount. Now, it's still less than the average true range, which is $28. So let's take a peek at how much these things move during earnings. All right, so we just had, that was a dividend, and then let's see how the last 3 earnings have gone. All right, $7, and it fell off a cliff for 5 days and then turned around and moved right up. So what we're going to have to look for is a bottoming formation. If it falls out of bed, then we have to watch for it to bounce if we take a strangle. Okay, so this one also collapses 5 or 6 days down, bounces up, but never recaptures. Okay, so this is what we'll see. Here's what this chart seems to be doing over the last couple of earnings. It follows the trend of the motion, which has been down for 4 or 5 days, moves into support, and then catches a bid. Okay, so where would support be if it caught a bid? That would be 214 to 230, right? Somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So what would happen if it moved into resistance like this one? This never filled the gap. It came into the zone right here and topped off at 380. So if that happens, 278 is where it might move. And if it goes up into the prior resistance zone, that's 297. So let's see what these two strikes give us. 280 and then 300,
okay,
and then 230 and 214. 280. Expensive. It's very expensive. They expect these guys are so sneaky. Expect they're expensive because if it goes to if it went to 285 and then 295 and then 305, it would be 38 cents immediately, right? Let's see what that is if we gave it a week. Much more expensive. But if we use it on the 15th, it's 65 cents. It's still twice as expensive as the one that expires on Friday, right? So we're expecting a massive move. We get out of it. If we do it on the 1st and we say, is it 285? 285, 295, 305, right? It's almost twice as much. If it zooms up there, you got to get out immediately. You've got to get out immediately, or else it's going to, well, here I am saying this, and that's what I said about Tesla, and the stinker just kept running. It just absolutely kept running. But let's take a look at the put side. If per happenstance, and see, here's the beauty. Because this chart has a tendency to reverse after earnings, right? Here it is down, and then it reverses, down, potentially reverses, or up, potentially reverses. The more time we give the trade, the more likely it is to work out for us, right? On both sides of the position. And so my head's a sieve. I can't remember. 230. All right, 230 to 220. So if we see 230, expensive, to 220, to 210, see, they are expecting a move. They're expecting some kind of move with Humana that might be a little bit bigger, which would make, and again, if you're looking at your lottery tickets here, look at the vol, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average vol is somewhere down in the 50s, probably high 40s, maybe. Yeah, 48 or so, 50, somewhere around there. Right now it's at 90, so it's 100% higher almost than it normally is. And so if you're thinking something like that and you go, if this is going to move and it's some sort of savage move and it either goes down to the floorboards at 215 or up to the top, yeah, I mean, they're even pricing that. They're pricing, okay, this one is cheaper. 300 is cheaper than 302, and that's because of the volume. So you could buy here it is right here. You could buy the strangle for 80 cents, the 300 215 strangle, but it's still $80, right? And that gives you that overall motion, but they are pricing in a big move. So here's my thought. My thought is, why not wait until after the earnings event? All the vol is going to be dropped out of the trade. All the options are going to be much, much cleaner, statistically speaking. And then we know, hey, if they fall off a cliff, they hold the floor. So, all right, I'm going to watch for it here, and I'm going to buy a 230, 240 bull put spread or whatever, but it'll be way cheaper than you would do it now because it's going to bounce. And if it reverses up here to old resistance, then you go, oh my gosh, I'm just going to buy a bear put spread. I'm going to buy the 295, 285 or 295, 290, and it's going to be so cheap because of what it is that's going on post earnings. Okay. And so what we want to do is just be a little wise about where we throw our powder out, because the option chains are just crushing option buyers right now. And at some point, that script is going to flip because we're going to get extreme outsize moves, but they're not showing up yet.
Okay. We got 4 minutes left here. Yeah. So I think the other stock that reports earnings tonight is Snap. I think one of the things that we could do here is take a really quick look, see if there's a trade. Sure. As you've kind of outlined with some of these, there isn't on some, so it is what it is. But this is the other one that we've got going here tonight.
Okay, so Snap's a very cheap stock.
Yep.
So it's a little bit like a lottery ticket event. They're only expecting $1 of motion. Holy smokes, look at the vol.
It's jacked.
49%. Okay, so some of the best things that you can do is sell, but everybody knows what's going on there. So I would say, lottery ticket action, bottom of the range value. I would look at an 8 put or a 15 call. And if you're thinking to yourself, 15, that's 21 cents, 8, that's 18 cents. And, you cross your fingers and wait for the massive move. Other than that, something like a naked strangle way out on the edges would really deliver results unless Snap has itself a little bit of surprise action for us on the flip side.
Now, Snap does that occasionally, so I don't necessarily want to write that off here, but really good spot by looking at some of those option stats there.
Yeah, for sure. Take a look. If you stare this down, if it fills the gap, I mean, this stock can move. That's why the chains are so expensive. I mean, take a look.
And because those contracts are cheap, you often see a lot of buying and trading in these as well. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you give yourself a little bit of time. So 37 cents, you might get up and that thing would be worth $5. You never know. Just don't bank on it being $5 and just say, this is just going to add cushion to my regular trading, because I think this earnings season has been very tough in terms of finding the sweet spots.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I was actually looking at Boot Barn yesterday, ticker Boot, for a potential earnings trade. Didn't really see any in my eyes for the options itself. Of course, they missed and traded down, had CEO news. They had a wild after hours, Anne-Marie. They traded down, bounced 13 points in the after hour session, and then retested the lows and broke them this morning. So I stayed away from this one. Frankly, I'm glad I stayed away from this one, because I probably would have messed this one up. But you're right. At least on the surface, to me, it sure seems like this earnings season a little bit more difficult than they have been.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, well, you know what? You still managed to find us some gems. We really cannot thank you enough. We will be back this Friday, right? So we should be able to come up with some more. We'll have more of an idea of some different stocks to trade. Good luck on these trades, Anne-Marie. And one more thing here, before we say goodbye to you, I would be remiss if I did not shout out Anne-Marie's participation in Benzinga Pro platform. Anne-Marie, we had mentioned on a day that you weren't here that that Tesla, it was in the chat. We show the chat all of the time. If you folks want to get more trades from Anne-Marie or ask her some questions, definitely check out Benzinga Pro. Anne-Marie has her own chat room in there. Anne-Marie, we can't thank you enough for doing it. We'll see you on Friday, all right?
My pleasure. See you then.
All right. Stay green. Stay